Hi, Merry Christmas. Welcome to Calhoun Jewelers. My name is Cathy Calhoun, and I'm here to give you a tour of my jewelry store, which originally, most everyone knows in this area, used to be a bank. This started out as and was built as First Federal Savings and Loan. It had then became Patriot Bank, which it was a Patriot Bank at the time when I decided to buy it and put a jewelry store in here. I was originally located about a block and a half down the street, and it was called Zanker Jewelers. And that's where I had purchased Zanker Jewelers from the wonderful family, and I was there for 5 years, but had to expand. I was doing so well in Royersford, I needed a bigger location. So that's when one day I was sitting at the traffic light right across the street, and I looked over and I saw this great bank that had a great parking lot, and I decided that day, this is what I have to have, and this is where my jewelry store has to be. So when I got back to my old jewelry store, I got on the phone and I called the president of Patriot Bank and said, I need to buy your bank building in Royersford at 5th and Main. And the bank president said, you're crazy, you can't buy the bank building. And I said, but I have to have it. I need to expand, and I want to stay in Royersford, and I need a bigger spot, and it's the perfect corner. I have to be there. And he said, look, we don't even own our own buildings anymore. There's a developer that owns that property. So I said, give me his name. He said, well, he's not going to sell you. He's not going to sell you the bank. It's a working bank. I said, just give me his name, set up a time where we can have lunch, and I just want to talk to him. I just want to see if he'd be willing to sell it. He said, well, I'm telling you, he's not going to sell it, but, and I said, well, it's a free lunch. You're invited to come, and what does he have to lose? It'll be a free lunch. So he said, fine. We set it up for the next week. He called the developer who owned the bank building and said, this crazy jeweler wants to purchase the bank, and she's willing to buy you lunch, and we'll all go to lunch. So he agreed, and we went to the old Harpoon Louis, and we were sitting there eating lunch. Over the lunch, I kept saying to him, you have to sell me that building because I have no place to go. I've outgrown where I'm at. And he just kept over and over again saying, why would I sell? I don't want to sell. I get income. I'm making money on it. The bank is a good tenant, and I've only owned it for about a year. I don't want to sell it. And after talking to him and trying to convince him of why I need to do it, at the very last minute I said to him, I'll throw in a big diamond ring. And just then he stopped talking and he leaned into the table and he whispered, how big? So I knew that I was going to get it. And I said, your wife can have the biggest diamond I have in my store, and that'll be my down payment. I'm going to I want to sweeten the deal. That's how much I wanted to be on this corner. So he then says to me, she always was complaining I never did get her an engagement ring. I'm like, done. Send her into the store. And the very next day, his wife comes down and she picks out a diamond ring for herself, and that was my down payment. And that's how I got this bank, which is now my jewelry store. So a funny story how I got into the jewelry business, as I said, I was working at the bank locally, dating a guy who had a jewelry store in Pottstown, and on Thanksgiving Eve, he had a severe heart attack. So he's in the hospital, said, you're going to have to go and run my jewelry store. And I thought, how hard can that be? That has to be easy. There can't be anything to that. So my first week there, it was a Friday night. I'm waiting on a young couple, and they're looking at diamond engagement rings, and I'm showing them two, and the guy says to me, well, they both are the same size. How come one is $1,000 more than the other? And I looked at it, they look the same to me. So I said, well, I don't know. I think you must have them mismarked. So take whichever diamond you want at the lowest price. So of course he takes the more expensive diamond, $1,000 more at the lower price, and they leave, they're happy. So after they left, I start to look in the case, and I see that all the diamonds are different prices. And I thought that my boyfriend at the time screwed up on all these prices. I'm like, he's got everything mismarked. I'm going to straighten it all out. So I made all the half carat diamonds the same price, the 3/4 carats, the carat. I made everything. I thought make it easier for everyone. If a customer just comes in and wants a carat, it's all the same price. Why would you have different prices? Because of course I didn't know anything about the 4 C's. So that night I go to the hospital and I say to him, I sold an engagement ring, but I repriced everything because you have it all messed up. And then that's when he grabbed his chest and screamed, I'm having the big one. The big one's coming, like he's getting another heart attack, and said, how stupid are you to do that? Well, I had no idea that there was color, cut, clarity difference in diamonds. So luckily the next week I started to get schooling and went to the Gemological Institute of America to start to learn about, do crash courses on jewelry and what diamonds are all about. So I understand when people come in and don't understand the pricing. There is a reason for it. But that's how I got into the jewelry business, because I fell in love with it then and never did go back to the banking business. So I've always been interested in history, historic things, whether it's buildings or jewelry, and my passion is the antique and estate jewelry. So I just want to share of how I feel jewelry has meaning and will stand the test of time. Here's like a perfect example of it. During World War II, when Hitler was in power, people were they were not allowed to wear their crosses or any other religious belief other than if they were going to wear a swastika. Everyone they had to hide most of their beliefs. They had to hide. This happens to be a gold watch fob that was made sometime during World War II. And I'll show you what it is. And remember, the owner would not be able to tell what his religious beliefs were. So inside of this ball was a hidden cross with all Masonic symbols engraved inside of it, so that he could still carry his idea of being a Mason in the cross and hidden, so he would not be in trouble. Isn't that a great remembrance? Here's another great, interesting piece of estate jewelry. This would have been made in the 20s, in the Art Deco era. It's heavy. First, I didn't know what it was when I got my hands on it. It's platinum with diamonds, and you can see that there are some initials here. And this also would have been worn by a man. And what it is a hidden vault key. So I need to keep that because of course I love banks and vaults, so I have to keep this for myself, and I do wear it on a chain around my neck. I think it's so cool. And I have been working on tracing those initials, which I believe it belonged to one of the Pinkertons, the Pinkerton family, which are the people who started Wells Fargo Bank. Now I'm seated in my office, which used to be the drive-through window, or part of the drive-through, because of course I said this was the bank, and I did need a place to have an office, and I wanted it up on our main floor, so I enclosed this, which was the first drive-through. There still are 2 more out there, but and over here, you can see the brick wall of what used to be the back of the building. We'll show you later, but I enclosed this part and extended the building a little bit, and then beyond me through that door is where our goldsmith shop is, where we have the 2 goldsmiths, our own polishing room to polish jewelry, and we do all of our repairs back in here. And we average close to, I think more, it's over 200 jewelry repairs a week. We're so busy back there. So that's what's on the other side of this wall. But I love it. I can open the window, look out at Giovanni's and get hungry and smell the pizza. And then what used to be a powder room, which is in the other room we'll show you, I turned into my gem laboratory.